Did you know Machiavelli didn't write for good men? He wrote for men who wanted to win, not to be liked, not to look virtuous, but to win. And if he were alive today, he wouldn't talk to you about pretty love stories or eternal promises. He would talk to you about the raw psychological power found in the most guarded corners of human nature. He would study the dynamics of a prostitute and her clients, not for the act itself, but to understand the ultimate game of emotional control and cold-blooded attraction. Machiavelli understood something uncomfortable, but true. In every relationship, from the streets to the palace, there is a silent struggle for control. And the one who wins is not the one who loves more. The one who wins is the one who needs less. Today, you're going to understand 11 feminine weaknesses, patterns that even the most calculated prostitutes use, and more importantly, weaknesses they succumb to when a man knows the rules. These are 11 blind spots that decide who invests, who chases, and who ends up begging for attention at 2 a.m. while you remain untouchable. While most men over-explain and apologize for existing, others understand these Machiavellian rules and completely change the dynamic. Not because they manipulate, but because they stop operating from need. Weakness number 11 is what separates the average man from the man who is impossible to replace. Many understand the first 10 and still lose everything because they fail to understand the last one. And the 10th weakness, it is so powerful that if you execute it correctly, it can change a woman's behavior in less than 7 days, stripping away the games and making her take you seriously. You don't lose because you lack money. You lose because you are predictable. You turn yourself into a habit, and what becomes a habit is not desired, it is used. Machiavelli knew that whoever controls access controls the game. Today, you're going to learn how to turn your presence into a prize. Write the word control in the comments right now, not for the algorithm, but for yourself. Because at the end, I'm giving you the exact sentence that activates the 10th weakness without a single argument. Now we begin. Weakness number 1, the addictive need for external validation. Something small but important to her. In the world of high-stakes attraction, the average man reacts instantly. Wow, amazing, you're perfect, you're incredible. She smiles, but internally she registers it as noise. Why? Because it was free, because it was automatic, because it had no weight. Machiavelli knew that in the world of a prostitute, validation is a currency, but most men inflate it until it's worthless. Validation is not affection, it's energy, it's attention with standards. When you give it without a filter, your value drops. When you give it with intention, your value rises. The silent mistake most men make, the same mistake clients make with a prostitute, is validating just to secure her. They do it so she doesn't cool off, so she doesn't leave to calm their own fear. And the exact opposite happens. When your validation is always available, it stops being a reward and becomes an entitlement. That's why selective validation is not coldness, it's emotional leadership. It's saying without saying, not everything deserves my approval. And when you finally give it, it has weight. An automatic good job is worth nothing. A well-timed good said calmly at the exact moment is worth more than 100 desperate compliments. But here comes the first serious warning. When you start doing this correctly, she changes. Even a woman used to the games of a prostitute will feel the shift. Sometimes she seeks you more. Sometimes she teases you to provoke you. Sometimes she throws ambiguous comments or tests you with something that sounds like a joke but isn't. And if you react incorrectly to that first test, you can lose her respect in a single night, even after doing everything right. I'm not going to explain this yet. You'll understand it later because that's where it's decided whether you're a solid man or just another guy who learned theory. We move to weakness number 2, her relationship with uncertainty. The human mind hates emptiness. It needs closure. It needs to anticipate. But in the art of attraction, the same art practiced by Machiavelli's most cunning advisors, well-managed emptiness is pure fuel. When everything is clear, guaranteed, and explained, there is no tension, no anticipation, no emotion. Predictability kills desire faster than any rejection. Classic scene. She texts you at 9:10. You always reply at 9:11. Same tone, same rhythm every day. You think that makes you a good man, attentive, reliable, but without realizing it, you've become a comfortable emotional service, predictable, replaceable. Just like a man who follows a fixed routine with a prostitute, you lose the mystery. Effective uncertainty is not disappearing out of insecurity or playing games. It's having a life, your own rhythm, replying when you can, not when you feel pressured, leaving natural spaces without explaining them. She fills those spaces with her mind. And when the mind fills spaces, it gets attached. But pay attention. This only works if your life has real substance. If it doesn't, uncertainty turns into emptiness. And sustained emptiness is perceived as a lack of substance. This is where many men think they're playing it right, when in reality, they're being used as emotional backup. And there is one very specific sign that indicates you've already crossed that line. Almost no one sees it. And when they do, it's already too late. That sign appears right before she mentally repositions you. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. I'll reveal it when we reach the point where most men lose, even after doing everything right. Which brings us to weakness number 3. The difference between a woman thinking about you and a woman feeling deeply connected to you. Many men believe listening is enough. It isn't. Anyone can listen. What's rare is reflecting, reading the emotion behind the words, and naming it precisely without exaggerating. When you do that, something changes. Her body relaxes, her gaze holds a second longer, but here's the trap. The moment she opens up, many men lose themselves. They rush ahead. They confuse connection with surrender. They cross an invisible line, and she simply downgrades them. If you don't understand this point, it doesn't matter if you do the first 2 perfectly. Sooner or later, you lose position. Stay with me because in the next part, we go exactly where most men get it wrong while thinking they've already won. Attraction is not about making a woman feel good. It's about not losing position when emotion rises. Weakness. Number 4. Emotional stability during energy shifts. One day she's close, the next day she's distant. She doesn't explain it. It just happens. The insecure man reacts. He asks what happened. He chases clarity. He thinks he's fixing something, but in reality, he's handing over control. The centered man, the Machiavellian man, does the opposite. He observes. He maintains his rhythm. He stays himself. When she comes back, she finds him the same. That small detail installs respect because she understands something crucial. She can move closer, but she cannot destabilize you. When a woman realizes she does not control your emotional state, she starts to treat you with more care. Not from fear, but from a perception of immense value. Well-positioned stability is deeply attractive, but center is not indifference. It's feeling without becoming a slave to what you feel. It's being present without losing yourself. This prepares the ground for weakness number 5, the reaction to chaos, arguments, stress, and pressure. This is where attraction is truly tested. In those moments, her emotional system evaluates one thing. Do you break under the pressure, or do you remain the master of the game one, or do you remain solid? Many men confuse support with matching her emotional level. They raise their voice, they get hooked, they argue, they defend themselves, and without realizing it, they become part of the chaos. This is a trap that even the most seasoned individuals in the world of a prostitute fall into, becoming an emotional mirror. When that happens, her brain registers danger. Not rational danger, but instinctive danger. And when there is danger, attraction pulls back. True containment is the opposite. You slow down. You speak more calmly, you say less. One clear sentence, one calm boundary, and you hold it. You don't threaten. You don't over-explain. You stay firm without fear, without drama. That calm doesn't kill emotion. It regulates it. Machiavelli believed that the one who stays calm while others are in chaos holds the true power. Her body starts to come down not because you control her, but because your presence becomes a reference point. Many women, including those who have mastered the art of manipulation like a prostitute, test this without realizing it. They need to know if the man in front of them can hold them when they can't even hold themselves. If you fail, respect drops. If you pass, something deeper than attraction installs. Instinctive trust. That's where weakness number 6 comes in. Real status cannot be faked for long. In the world of Machiavelli, status is not just money or titles, it's presence. How you move, how you occupy space, and how others react to your energy. Women observe this constantly. How does a waiter treat you? Do other men respect you? Real status is not announced, it's perceived. Imagine a scene. Someone interrupts you. The insecure man laughs nervously or explodes. Both lose. The man with real status, the one who truly understands the 11 weaknesses, looks, and when he speaks with weight. He doesn't yell. He doesn't ask permission to exist. This silent status communicates value. Arrogance is loud. Real status is solid and consistent. When a woman perceives it, she starts measuring how seriously you take yourself. This brings us to weakness number 7, coherence. This weakness appears when she starts to feel comfortable. She watches one very specific thing, the coherence between what you say and what you do. Most men, out of fear of losing her, swallow inconsistencies in silence. They tell themselves it's not a big deal. But silence is not maturity. It's fear in disguise. The man who understands these Machiavellian tactics doesn't argue. He observes. And when the moment comes, he returns coherence calmly. You said this was important to you. That's why this caught my attention. No irony, no sarcasm, just clarity. This creates respect because she realizes you're not asleep. You're holding a standard. When a woman perceives that you're not afraid to point out inconsistencies, she stops seeing you as an emotional option and starts seeing you as a man with standards. Now, weakness number 8, direction. I'm not talking about knowing everything. I'm talking about not being lost. Many men seek approval before deciding. They ask too much. They doubt everything. This kills attraction because it forces the woman into the position of guiding him. A woman, even one as independent as a Heil prostitute, does not want to carry a man's emotional direction. Real direction isn't shouted. It's felt. It's knowing what you want and moving forward calmly. This man knows where he's going with me or without me. That perception changes the dynamic. You are no longer someone who reacts to life. You are someone who drives it. Finally, we reach weakness number 9, the relationship between security and availability. Most men believe that to create security, they must always be there. In reality, the opposite happens. The kind of security that maintains desire is born from constant choice, not absolute guarantee. When she feels she has you secured no matter what, her investment drops. But when she feels you are present because you choose to be, not because you need to be, she starts valuing you more. This is not achieved by playing childish games, but by having a life that does not revolve around one person. When she cancels a plan last minute and you always accept like nothing happened, you teach her that your time is cheap. When you keep your schedule and your dignity, you teach her that being with you is a choice, not a right. Availability with value is not explained. It is lived. You don't say, you're busy. You simply are busy. You don't threaten to leave. You simply don't tolerate what doesn't align. And all of this brings us right to the edge of the most delicate point where your boundaries are tested for the final time, collapses. In this final and most lethal phase, we enter weakness number 10. This is the point where the dynamic changes forever. It is the cut, the exact action that most men are terrified to execute. And because of that fear, they lose everything. Even the most calculated men, those who think they can outsmart a prostitute or a manipulator, fail here because they lack the internal steel to pull the trigger. Weakness number 10 isn't a clever line or a psychological trick. It's a cold internal decision. It activates the moment a line is crossed. It might be a disrespectful joke, a repeated lack of respect, or subtle emotional manipulation. The average man reacts by negotiating or exploding. Both reactions prove his boundaries are fake. But the Machiavellian man, the man who truly understands these 11 weaknesses, does not argue. He executes. He lowers his tone. He looks her directly in the eyes. He says little and he acts. That action reorders the universe. He says one short, clear sentence. This doesn't work for me. I don't stay in dynamics like this. And then he walks away. Not to provoke, not to manipulate, but to respect himself. Within 24 hours, her mind goes into an absolute alert. She realizes she is no longer in front of a man who tolerates out of fear, but a man of real consequences. If you are not willing to lose someone who crosses your boundaries, you have already lost yourself. And when you lose yourself, you become replaceable. The sentence that activates this weakness without discussion is, I don't stay where respect is lost. I wish you the best. No paragraphs, no debates, just wait. This leads us to weakness number 11. Integrity, the silent force that holds that everything together when nobody is watching. Integrity is what you do when the lights are off. It's how you talk to yourself, how you handle frustration, and how you refuse to betray your own soul just to avoid being alone. Even a woman used to the darkest side of human nature, like a Heil prostitute, can sense a man's integrity through her intuition. She stops seeing you as an option and starts seeing you as a solid point, a complete man. Desire may fluctuate, but respect sustains. Without respect, no attraction lasts. Don't try to apply all 11 weaknesses at once. Don't become artificial. Choose one thing this week. If you've been a chaser, stop giving away free validation. If you've been too available, recover your life's rhythm. If you've tolerated disrespect, execute the cut with calm action. When you raise your standards, you filter out those who don't belong in your life. A man who filters stops begging and starts leading. This journey is not about winning someone else. It's about never losing yourself again. Because when a man stops losing himself, he becomes impossible to replace. Final CTA, mind echo, exclusive background music, a deep, resonating cinematic tone with a subtle echo effect, slow and powerful. If this deep dive into the Machiavellian mind has given you the clarity you needed, then you are ready for the next level. Subscribe to Mind Echo right now. By joining Mind Echo, you are not just subscribing to a channel, you are marking the exact moment you stopped moving from a place of lack and started moving from a place of calm, total control. Leave a comment with the word integrity below to show that you have finished the path. This is the echo of your new mind, Mind Echo, where silence speaks louder than words. Final ringtone, a sharp, clean echo,